One thing that I've experienced over the years is the situation changes, but the pattern comes back. In trading, in business, in life, different circumstances, same triggers. But what can change is how you respond in the moment, because it always comes back to the same place: how you think, how you feel, and how you choose to act. That's what I want to explore with you today. You are listening to the Confidence in Trading podcast. I am your host, Agnieszka Wood, a trading mindset coach and a seasoned day trader with over a decade of experience. If you are new to my show, don't forget to subscribe so you can come back for the next episode. In this podcast, we explore the fascinating world of psychology and the human element of trading. We take a deep dive into different perspectives to inspire you and help you navigate the emotional ups and downs of trading with self-compassion and confidence. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned pro, this podcast is your trusted companion providing support on your trading journey. Get ready to boost your confidence and unlock the secrets to mastering your mindset for success. Welcome to episode 77. Trading is a reflection. What patterns are you repeating? So this episode is very special for me, as on April 1st, it's been 7 years since I started a head coach. Time flies when you're having fun, they say, right? And I still remember that moment so clearly when I decided to set up the company, just sitting there and deciding to register the domain name. That was the first thing that I did. It was $1,000. And it felt like this big step at the time, not because of the money, but because it made everything real. Making the decision was for me this commitment to, I'm going to make this work. There was no full plan. I had no certainty how it would all unfold, just this strong feeling that this was the right direction. And since then, a lot has happened. The business grew. I created programs. I started this podcast. Already, we've been here for 3 years, worked with traders from all over the world. But when I look back at those 7 years, what really stands out for me the most is not what I built. It's what kept showing up. The same patterns in different situations. And that's what I want to share with you today. This is not going to be a highlight reel of my achievements. I'm not going to walk you through memory lane of milestones and talk about how great it all is, even though all I have achieved is absolutely fantastic and it still blows my mind how many things you can do in 7 years. What I do want to do instead is I want to share what I have experienced over those 7 years and how it helped me become a better trader. Because when I look back, one thing I've seen very clearly over time: patterns don't just disappear, they come back, just in different forms, in different contexts, whether you are trading, whether you're running a business, whether you are in relationship. It's just different conditions, but very similar triggers. And one of those conditions that I want to talk about is uncertainty. If you have been trading for a while, you know how uncertain the environment is. You simply don't know what's going to happen. And that's very different with the environment of where we normally live. Even though we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, we still make plans. We try to kind of create that illusion of certainty so that we can feel safe. When I started my business, this was the first confrontation with uncertainty. I had no idea where it's going to lead me. I did not know whether anyone will want to listen to me. When I started, trading mindset was completely an unknown area. When I was telling someone I'm a trading mindset coach, they were looking at me with big eyes, was like, what's that? So I stepped into the domain that was absolutely underdeveloped, but I felt like this is the right direction, the right step. And even though I went through this process of adjusting to uncertain conditions when I was trading, this has been challenged again when I started my company. So I didn't know what's going to happen. I had no idea what response I will get from the market. And I'm not talking about trading market, but from the audience, from traders, how I will be received, whether my message will be understood, and also whether I will be able to bring over my message in a way that will be understandable. All this uncertainty was influencing my decisions. And there were moments that I had to make a decision without knowing if it's going to work. And this is exactly the same pattern that most traders encounter in trading, right? And a lot of times they are afraid to make decisions because they don't know if it's going to work out. So what I've learned was that you cannot have clarity or certainty before you actually do something. This is what is valid for trading, but it's also valid for anything else in life. Whether you have a business or even in a relationship, you can tell each other you will love each other forever, but you don't know if this is how it's going to go. And when you are fixated on knowing, a lot of times it will stop you from doing. It's okay to move on without knowing for sure. And this is something that I had to do with a head coach, because otherwise I would not be here where I am. I would probably be still maybe sitting at my desk and making plans and writing down all kinds of ideas. But really, what made a difference and helped me grow and helped me make impact was because I moved on without knowing it, even when it was scary. And I can tell you there were absolutely moments that were scary, especially the moments where, you invest a lot of time and a lot of money and you don't know if this is all going to work out. So whether it's trading or if it's a business, it doesn't matter. If you don't deal with that pattern, it will come back to help you learn the lesson. And I have to say that just by pulling the trigger and just doing it, this really helped me to see what is my next step, because I have felt miserably at the beginning. I had webinars where I had nobody showed up, and I had webinars where only one person showed up, and I kept doing them. So let's talk about decision making. This whole thing about second guessing myself. I cannot tell you how many times in the last 7 years I have been overthinking whether it's the right decision to make, whether this is the right offer, whether this is the right program, whether this is the right step, whether this is the right webinar, whether this is the right conference to present at. What are those right decisions? The moment that you keep doing that, you end up in that loop of self-doubt, because truly before you actually take that action, you will never know if it is the right decision. Trusting your own decision, it's not about the decision being right. It's about trusting that when you make a commitment, that you keep that commitment. It's not about whether every decision is right, but the trust is about, I made a commitment to myself that I am going to follow the plan. I made a commitment to myself that I'm going to record this podcast today, and I'm following through on that. And that builds trust. This is what building a head coach really contributed to my own process as a trader, but also as a human being. Because I can tell you that I have had so many people telling me what to do, telling me how I should be doing things. There's so many opinions. Everyone has their idea how to build a business. And there are a lot of different ideas. Just the same way as in trading, all the advice out there can get very overwhelming. And you start doubting yourself. Maybe I should follow this guy. Maybe I should do this. And you start doubting yourself whether you actually know what you're doing, because it seems like all the other people, they know what they're talking about. And I had exactly the same feeling when I was growing a head coach. This feeling that I used to have with trading came back, and it made me realize that it is not about whether my decision will be right. It is about whether I will learn from the decision I make, whether I will truly look at what happened, how I made it, and take the responsibility for those results. going through that process again of understanding that the trust is about me making the commitment and holding myself to it more than trusting that my decisions are right. That was really something that helped me deepen my self trust, helped me deepen my confidence level, and also I definitely improved the way that I trade. This is a great segue to external influence. How much other people's opinion affect you? I have to say that when I started a head coach, I had such a strong vision of what I want to do that when I talk to other people, I was very convinced that what I had was right and very stubborn in that what I'm thinking is the right thing and this is all that I need to know, which was really very interesting because there were a lot of people that had experience in the area of psychology and neuroscience, and I found myself sort of rejecting it at first. I felt a lot of resistance. And I think that this came from the place of me being insecure, whether what I have is going to be received well. That was blocking me from actually being open and flexible and adaptable to listen what other people have to say. And this happens a lot in trading. Sometimes when I talk to traders, they say, yeah, I already know that. I know that. The moment that you say, I know it already, you're just closing yourself up for something else you can learn because there's always something more to learn. And when you feel resistance to listen to something, usually it is because there is something for you to learn or something that is pointing to a gap, something that you don't want to look at. So this is what I have experienced at the very beginning. I have been reinventing the wheel over again. Like there was a lot of advice that I could have used at the beginning, and probably that is the reason why it took me a while becoming more visible in that market. But I had a lot of resistance to really open myself up and to listen. And then when I realized that and I let go of the resistance, this is where everything really started to flow. I started looking at advice from a perspective of, is there something there that I can maybe learn from? Is there something there that I can use? Not necessarily, oh, no, I have to change everything, but what is there for me? Is there something for me? The moment that you stop fighting, you will see how things are flowing. Your attention will be on completely something else. It will be on your progress, on things you can learn, on things you can use to your advantage instead of trying to reject every single thing. This was my experience. And if you experience similar thing in your trading, where you maybe, you even maybe ask for help or say, I want help, but then when you get it, you reject it. This is very interesting phenomena that I have seen over the last years, is that a lot of people want help or they ask for help, but then when they get it, they do not have the ability to accept it, to actually take it in, but they put all resistance against it and start fighting it. So that's something to, pay attention to for yourself and see, where can I let go of the resistance and speed up my progress? And I am not saying you have to listen to everyone, okay? I'm just saying be open. Look what the ideas are and bounce it against your own ideas with the awareness of, am I rejecting it or am I actually looking at this with a neutral perspective? It just gives you so much more internal stability that you can use for building more confidence about the things you're doing and about the choices that you are making. So let's talk about the choices that we are making, because the way that we choose to do things, the way that we decide when we say yes and when we say no, have to do with boundaries. And it's very easy to cross your own boundaries, especially if you are not used to holding your boundaries and protect your boundaries. You can imagine that when you build your own company, that especially at the beginning, you want to say yes to everything. And a lot of times, what happens is that you are saying yes to more than you can chew. And how ironic that this very same thing happens a lot in trading, right? Taking too much risk while you don't have the resilience yet, or letting the market hurt you with taking too big losses. So, because you cannot say no to a trade that you shouldn't be in. So, boundaries are a very important thing to pay attention to. Saying no, it's not easy, whether it's, to people or to yourself, but it is something that I had to learn so that I was able to deliver the level of service and the quality of service that I pictured and that I want for my clients. Because if I do not say no, if I wasn't able to set my boundaries, then I would be running completely empty on my energy and not be able to be there in the moments that people actually really need me. You are the most important asset for you in your life. There is no one else that can help you to keep your boundaries. This is a very personal thing. It's a very internal thing, especially when you are ambitious, when you are a high achiever like me and want a lot of things. You want the best. Many times you strive for perfection and it can be exhausting. So when do you say no? When do you actually say, this is enough? So that's what I have been learning more, even more than just, with trading. I have been learning that so much with the company, because everywhere where you go, you have to set very clear boundaries. Who do you serve? You can imagine that the trading industry is a huge market, right? There are millions of traders everywhere. And there are so many traders coming into the market every single day. So just even defining who do I help had to do with who do I want to work with? What kind of trader I want to help? What kind of trader I can help? And I have so many people questioning, why aren't you working with all traders? You could be making so much more money. And that's just so interesting because, yes, business have to make money, especially if I want to help more people. I need to grow my business. So my business has to be profitable so that I can hire more people and then help more people, right? But one of the boundaries for me that has to do with my vision is that I never want my students to be just a number. I enjoy and I love having personal relationship with all my students, and I cannot imagine it to have it differently, because I see how much benefit it delivers and value to the learning process, and how much joy and energy it gives me. And in the end, I set up this company for me to build something that makes me feel fulfilled, that has value, something that I can create legacy with. Having that clear conviction about what is it that you want, and being able to say no to whatever is trying to pull you away from that. It's just like with the trading plan. You have a plan, you know what you are trying to do here today. And then the market is trying to pull you away all kinds of direction. Maybe you were in a chat room and everyone is telling you, oh, just do this, just do that. Or you see it and your head is telling you, why don't you just jump into this trade? This is exactly the same thing. Why are you here? What is your vision for today? What is it that you are trying to do? Why is it important to you? How does it feel to you when you are fulfilled? What makes you happy at the end of the day? Is it the amount of money you make, or is it something else? Being able to say no, holding your boundaries, that is just something that I have learned already before in trading. But I have to say that going through this last 7 years, this has strengthened this ability so much, that I am forever grateful, because now I can see how easily also I can say no in all other contexts. And last but not least, I want to talk about projection. I'm talking about projecting yourself onto others or your environment. And this one is really interesting because this is what we as traders do constantly. We are projecting our goals, our wishes, our beliefs, our fears onto the market. And we are trading through those filters, whether we are trying to prove our own worth or we are projecting our fears into the market. This is what happens constantly. And the way that it showed in my business was that I realized that not projecting yourself, it's not only important in the market, but as a coach, you cannot project yourself onto other people. As a coach, you have to stay neutral. You have to be able to serve without putting your own story in between. And that level of detachment, practicing it every day, really helped me to not only become a better coach, but become a better trader. And in life, it made a huge difference. So it's more observing, less emotional entanglement. It's really, instead of projecting yourself on everything around you, whether it's people or your environment or the market, it's really staying neutral and looking at everything from this neutral point of view as is, being present to what is. So being able to master the skill of detachment, of not projecting myself into the environment, onto the others, has helped me enormously, not just in the coaching, but definitely in my trading as well. So a head coach really helped me to reinforce those shifts, even though, I have experienced them already in trading. The last 7 years have not only helped me to understand them better, but to practice them and truly embody them. The same things showed up in both places, the same patterns. No matter where they are, if you look in your life, if you discover patterns in your life, just look at all contexts, because they keep coming up. And they come up because they give you the opportunity to change them, to master something, to go deeper, to develop and expand even more. Life is like a mirror, and so is your trading screen. Everything is a mirror, whether it's business, your trading, your relationships, everything is a mirror, and it gives us opportunity to learn. No matter what you do in life, anything, you will always be given the opportunity to learn the lesson that you need. And trading is just the environment where patterns show up. Life will give you the same lesson until you are ready to actually see it. Patterns repeat because they are not situational, they're internal. They are connected to how you think, how you interpret situations, how you respond under pressure. And until that changes, the pattern will keep finding new ways to show up, to help you solve it, to help you learn something from it, and to help you entangle that pattern from within. And this is probably the biggest shift for me. For a long time, I thought changes come from learning more, doing more, trying harder, fixing what's outside. But that's not what creates real change. Change happens when your response changes. Not the situation, not the trigger, your response. Because the situation will often stay the same. The uncertainty will be still there. The losses will still happen. The pressure will still show up. But if your reaction stays the same, then nothing changes. And this is where most people get stuck. And this is what I have experienced, not just in trading before, but also when I was growing a head coach. And then you can start changing strategies and looking for better setups and, trying to avoid discomfort. But really, the key is to look at how am I responding in that moment. So when I look back at those 7 years, what made the biggest difference was not avoiding those patterns, but it was seeing them, recognizing them faster, and then responding differently. So the question is not how do I get rid of them? The question is, what do I do when they show up? This is really where the shift happens. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you have any questions, you can reach me on social media. Check the social handles in the description under this episode. And please feel free to reach out. You can also always email me at launchyourlife@aheadcoach.com. I will be happy to continue this conversation with you. Thanks again for celebrating with me the 7th birthday of a head coach. And I will talk to you next time. Thank you for listening to the Confidence in Trading podcast. If you are enjoying my show, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and tell me what you like about it. Thanks to you, more traders will be able to find me, and together we'll make a bigger impact. So thank you so much. If you are new to my show, don't forget to subscribe so you can come back for the next episode. And make sure to also check some of the previous shows. Thank you again for tuning in. This is Agnieszka Wood from A Head Coach. Bye for now.